thought it was 10 instead of 20%.
Yes, 10, all right.
Well, gentlemen, you're all aware that the shortage of coal is still extremely serious and very acute. And I must say I am perturbed about this continued absenteeism amongst the small minority at this college. 7's new conveyor face is getting on quite well and should be in production, I think, in 3 or 4 days' time. The coal field qualified for bonus in the first output period, and the first payment was due to be made last Friday. I hope it went off without a hitch.
Quite all right, sir.
Because, of course, it's a novelty in the coal mining industry. It's the first time such a scheme has ever been applied. And to the best of your knowledge, everybody received what they were entitled to.
Everyone, sir.
Glad to hear that. Now, then, with regard to our effort to reach our target figure, our pit... The minutes of the last meeting, gentlemen, have been circulated. Is it your wish that I sign them as a true record?
Yes, sir, we agreed.
Thank you. Now, matters arising out of the minutes. The first thing is, I think, the output bonus. This colliery, along with all others in the Nottinghamshire coal field, qualified for bonus payment in the first output period. Were all the payments made according to the scale? Agreed?
Yes, we are. Well, everybody's satisfied, sir.
Have been no complaints that you've
None
heard
at
of?
all.
Because you realize this is a complete novelty in the coal mining industry. No scheme of this kind has ever been tried before. But it all went off quite satisfactorily at this pit.
Yes.
Now, with regard to this pit's effort to reach its target figure, the minutes of the last meeting have been circulated, gentlemen. Is it your wish that I sign them as a true record?
Yes, we all agreed, sir.
Thank you. Now, matters arising out of those minutes. The first thing is the payment of the output bonus.
All the lads were very well satisfied.
I'm glad to hear that. You realize that this bonus scheme is a complete novelty to the coal mining industry, and I thought there might be a few flaws in the first payout. I'm glad to hear there are not. Now, with regard to the pit's effort to reach its target figure, I'm glad to report that last week we exceeded the figure by about 400 tons, or 2.5%. But the management aren't altogether satisfied with the output in that week. We lost about 400 tons, nearly 500 tons, off 11's conveyor. We're aware that faults have been struck and the conditions are not too good in the left bank with water and so on. But we're not quite satisfied about that loss of output. Now, Mr. Middup, you've inspected the face on behalf of this committee. Can you tell us anything about it?
Yes, sir. In regard to 11s, there was an hindrance of the supply of empty tubs and coal getting away due to a fall in the loader gate, which kept men there without work. Secondly, on the 11s left, I found abnormal conditions under which the men were working, faults and water. But at the same time, I could not attribute any fault to the management, and certainly none to the men working under those abnormal conditions.
Mr. Hall, the haulage lags were affected to some extent. Are they all right? Are they standing up to it all right?
They were all right. They stayed 8.5 hours and was willing to stop longer to suit the purposes.
Oh, I'm glad.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're in for better things on that face. Those faults are running out.
Yes.
And the prospects, I think, are really quite good during the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Well,
We ought to get all the output back, I think, if we all stick to it. Now...
Now, gentlemen, I would repeat that when you hold a cartridge of explosives in your hand, you have with you a terrific power. Indeed, when you carry a 5-pound tin of explosives, you ought to feel more or less like Napoleon. And you can do nearly as much damage as he did if you do not use that explosive wisely. Now, as I said before, I think and I believe that when you hold a cartridge of explosive in your hand, you have indeed colossal power with you. And when you carry a 5, and it should make you feel almost like Napoleon. And you can almost do as much damage. On the other hand, you could, of course, do quite a large. Now I shall be prepared to answer any questions you care to put before me.
Could Mr. Haberjam give us any information as to how the term polar, as applied to explosives, originated?
Yes, I think that can be simply answered by stating that when it was found that certain substances added to nitroglycerin would reduce its freezing point, then it was necessary to add something to the name that would indicate that these explosives were not freezing explosives, as we call them. Are there any more questions, please?
Yes, Mr. William. I'd like to know where the oxygen comes from for the re-establishment of the upper curve on the diagram there. Does it come from an outside source, the atmosphere, or does it come from the explosive itself?
It comes from the atmosphere outside as the rock breaks.
Could you tell us, please, how many cubic feet of gas are released by the explosion of 1 4-ounce cartridge?
At normal temperature and pressure, 1 pound of explosive will produce about 5 cubic feet of gas. And therefore, for an ordinary 4-ounce cartridge such as you use, it will be about 1/4 of that amount, 1 1/4 cubic feet of gas. Are there any? Mind your eyes if you do. Hold it away from you. That's right. Keep it away from your eyes. See, sir. Ready? It's always good. An ordinary fuse head, as used in the electric detonators. Now here we have an ordinary fuse head such as is used in the common electric detonator. This is attached to the ordinary one-shot exploder such as you use underground, and I ought to explain that it takes a matter of from 1/20th of a second, or shall I say from 1/1000th of a second down to 1/20th of a second to put this fuse head off in this way. Now, gentlemen, in conclusion, I would like to state that I have given a more or less complete account of the terrific forces you have in explosives, the huge amount of work and toil that can be done so easily with them, rather than when this work has to be done with the ordinary pick. You can understand that having so much energy in such small compass, a terrific saving in time is secured. And therefore, if you will only use your explosives wisely and well, the full benefits of these cartridges of energy will be available for the necessary increase in coal production which is needed in the country at the present time. With that, gentlemen, I will leave you for the present and take up the subject of initiators on the next occasion.
One 262, 262, 248, 248, 796, 796, 905, 905, 760, 760, 40, 632.
But he